the first thing I always like to burn is the eye. I carve these eyes. I love seeing bird carvers when they put in glass eyes. I think it's so cool. It's a technique that one day I hope to learn. I think it gives the carving a little more interest. It gives it more depth. But I also think it's fun just to carve the eye a little faster. You don't have to worry about using putty and all that stuff. And, you know, I would hate to mess up putting the eyeball in. So the process that I like to do is, I'll zoom in a little bit with you. As you can see, I have the eye set out, and it's very, it's slightly rounded. It's not completely round yet. I went in with a small, really fine tip and cut into the eye a little bit just to give some shape on both sides. And I have the brow, I guess, is it a bird's eye, a brow? I don't even know, but where it would be a brow right above the eye. I have that overhanging, and I'm going to use the skew to really
Tom,
get in.
could you pull down just a hair?
Oh, sure.
Sorry, man.
No worries. Thanks. Kind of losing my place here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and just with the burner really slow. It's almost like using it as a knife, like a hot knife through butter. And I'm just going to jab in, and I'm just going to define around the eye, the eyeball. The other nice thing about doing these types of carvings, it's not mounted, and you can just turn the carving and make sure you're exactly where you want to be, because this is the stage where you really don't want to mess up. You put all this time into getting it here, and take your time doing the details. All right. So with the eye started there, it's just the outline. And I'm actually going to leave it and go to the feet a little bit, just because I don't want to keep switching. But typically what I'll do is I'll take this tip off, and I'll put the shading tip, the flat shading tip, and kind of burnish the eye. But I'll go back to that when I switch the tips. So when I carve the eye, when I burn the eye, I already cut in, kind of like, it's almost like making a stop cut when you're going to carve. That's the way I look at it. So I kind of made my stop cut with that skew tip. And now I'm going to go in with this little shading tip, and I'm going to start just almost like making like a circular motion. I'm going to just start coloring in the eye. And eventually what happens is that, and I've heard guys call it burnishing. I guess that's the way you call it. It kind of tightens up the grain a little bit. It gives a little bit of a shine. So where all this texture and feather pattern is, I'm now going to have this eye be a lot smoother, and it's going to help it stand out more when I paint the finishing detail. That paint's going to stand out and almost give it like its own shine. I do use nail polish. Man, I guess I got a lot of nail stuff going on here. I got this thing and nail polish in the eyes. I'm letting you into too much now, but the nail polish at the end is going to help that shine come out too. So again, I'm going to turn the carving just so I can make sure that I get in there. And I'm going to almost like push down on the eye, because I want to round the eyeball out more. So it might be a little hard to see. I'll zoom it in a little bit. But I'm just going to kind of push around and give it that round shape. And it might take a couple passes. I don't like to hover too long, because when it starts burning, you can't take that back. Right? You can always go back in and make it darker. Sometimes I resort to some sandpaper, but try to eliminate any extra steps if I can. All right. I know this could be, I don't want to be too boring with this, but I want this carving to look good when it's done too. So I'm going to take my time, and I'll bring it up a little closer, because on my end, I could see that the ball is a lot rounder than it was. Before, it was almost like an oval shape. And now it's starting to fill in a little bit. So let me bring it up a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little hard to see on this, but you can see that now the eye is black, and it's giving it a little more shape. And I love this part, because for me, this is like, all right, now this guy's starting to come to life. The eye is one of the first things you see on any carving, right? Whether it be a face of a human or an animal, those eyes are such an important step. So that's why I would like to do it first, take my time with it.